Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 60th rolling of the Krewe of Hyacinthians parade. I'm very honored to be here, Stan Grubba, along with our expert, Janet Price. Janet is going to help us as we go through all of the floats, the pageantry that is involved with the Krewe of Hyacinthians. And Janet, I got to tell you, we have been very blessed with the weather so far this year. Although it's not beautiful or cloudless, another nice day for Mardi Gras.
It's a beautiful day, and we've certainly seen the streets get a large crowd and full of people ready to catch some beads.
I agree. Why don't you, while we're waiting for the color guard to approach, maybe tell us a little bit about Hyacinthians Parade.
Sure. On February 12th, 1951, a small group of Houma women watched a Mardi Gras parade roll by, and they had a grand idea. They decided to organize a carnival club just for women. Until then, no women's carnival club organizations existed in Houma. Articles of incorporation were filed, and the Ladies Carnival Club was formed. After paying $30 in annual dues, 65 costume and masked women paraded down Main Street with 7 floats and 7 torchbearers, New Orleans Zulu Carnival Club. That was the beginning of the first women's carnival club in Houma, now known as the Krewe of Hyacinthians. They decided that the purpose of the club would be to have fun, promote carnival spirit, and afford the opportunity for any member to be a queen. Hyacinthians Carnival Club is now in its 60th year and has 16 double-decker throwing floats. The present membership is 377. Each float carries 22 to 26 riders. This is the club's 60th year in existence, and as a nod to the past, we represented past queens at the tableau last night. Hyacinthians are proud to have been a part of a carnival in Terrebonne Parish for 60 years. They have one remaining charter member in the club from the beginning year, Miss Marguerite Roper.
And I think we're going to see Miss Roper a little later, actually, as she's going to come up and be greeted by the queen this year, and we'll get to that as soon as the floats start to come. But here you see the very beginning of the parade, as you did a great job talking over those motorcycles. That's tough as the lead motorcycles are passing by in carts.
And there's our
down there in a cart,
who has been very gracious at letting us know where the parade was today so that we could know when we needed to get up here.
That's right, and we're here. The parade was a 12 o'clock start time on this Sunday, and I guess right now we're probably a good 2.5 hours into the parade. And there you see the color guard as the honor goes to the Boy Scouts of America, Troop 820. Club master, is Kelly Rodriguez. Those guys are always there to lead off the parade. And of course, we're at the reviewing stand, so we're going to see a lot of stopping as they come by to salute everybody who's in the reviewing stand. And again, another nice turnout on a beautiful Sunday afternoon.
And I really think we probably have the best view of the entire parade because we get to see everything. You know, a lot of times along the parade route, you wonder what's going on at the reviewing stand. And so we really get to see actually a bird's eye view of just exactly what is going on.
Very nicely. We also have Renee Rose, who's going to have a live mic, so we'll know exactly who's toasting who. We'll turn it over to him from time to time. But again, you're right, a very nice place for us to be as we are right near the reviewing stand. And there you see Troop 820. Club master is Kelly Rodriguez, doing a fine job as those guys are walking by. Carrying our nation's state and parish colors today are the Club Scouts and Boy Scouts from Southeastern Louisiana Council's Bayou District, which encompasses Terrebonne, Lafourche, and Assumption parishes, as well as part of St. James and Grand Isle. Scouts from local packs and troops are also displaying flags from their own units. The Boy Scouts of America just celebrated their 100th anniversary.
And I think we're going to see coming up just about a staple in most Mardi Gras parades, and that's the Shriners.
Yeah, Shriners were here. This is our third parade actually during the Mardi Gras season. Of course, Hercules was 2 days ago. Hyacinthians was last night, and the Shriners have been at every one of them.
I don't think it would be a parade without the Shriners.
I agree. Mardi Gras and, you know, Houma go hand in hand with the Shriners being around somewhere. And it's fun to watch the dune buggies. We didn't see the motorcycle units, but it's fun to see these dune buggies as these guys every year have a lot of fun.
And it's neat to see how they have them decorated and just how much they can actually load onto those little dune buggies to throw throughout the parade.
Well, that's an interesting one. That particular car is obviously not a dune buggy, but we didn't see this one in the past parades. Very nice.
And the kids always like to see the Shriners in the parade. You know, we mentioned that the crew still has one remaining member, Mrs. Marguerite Roper. That's amazing to be a part of something from the beginning.
60 years.
And see, I'm sure she's probably got a lot of stories to tell, the progression of how the crew has grown and changed throughout the years.
60 years, it's amazing. They were telling us right before we went on air that in the tableau last night, they actually announced all of the queens at the particular tableau, so that must have been a very nice thing, all of those who are still with us, and it's got to be special for her. And again, when the queen does get here, they will have a special presentation involving her. Now, we didn't see this from the Shriners last night, all of the flags. That's pretty neat on those
impressive.
Two particular golf carts. The Cajun carts, clowns, the dune buggies, all synonymous with Mardi Gras in Houma.
And there we have our first view of the captain of the parade, Miss Lynn Myers. Lynn is currently the vice president of the club and captain of the parade. Lynn has served on the board of directors for the past 6 years and has also served as specialties chairman. She was a maid in 1996. Lynn has been a member of Hyacinthians for 23 years. She will be toasted by her children, Sam and Molly Myers, and her mother, Gail Nono. Lynn is employed as an adaptive PE teacher in the Terrebonne school system, working with special needs children. She rides on her sister, Lori Hamner's float. Lynn is very thankful for someone who helps out and spends countless hours behind the scenes making this weekend possible. And there we see.
Pull it in close to the reviewing stand. I think first they're going to make the presentation as I'm sure that's her family there.
Children, that would be her children Sam and Molly, and her mother Gail.
And the ceremonial picture taken by a good friend of mine, Vincent Kramer, who's a photographer for Hyacinthians.
Actually does a lot in the community.
Yeah,
he really does.
He's a good guy. He's a super good guy. Does good work too.
It's a little cloudy here, but I would think looking at their costumes, they're probably glad the sun isn't out.
It'd
be a little warm.
I agree, because last night actually doing a parade, was thinking of how cold it got last year. Of course, we're a little bit later in the year this year, but last year was extremely cold. Thank God this is not like 2 weeks ago when we were still in the cold stretch.
Because I don't know about you, but I've been in here before when it's really cold, and it's a long night.
It's not fun, and I'm sure it's not fun for the crowd out there either when it's extremely cold. It's a perfect day today.
It is a great parade day. And again, that we're looking at the captain of the parade, Miss Lynn Myers, toasting her family.
And I think she's preparing to move on. Trying to get the kids just to back up a little bit so that everybody's safe as they go through. There she goes. Very good. Our captain of the ball is Miss Dawn Pierron. Dawn is currently president of the club. She serves as captain of the ball and has been a member of the club for 13 years. She's been a board member for many years and has previously served as the club's treasurer. This is Dawn's second year serving as president. Dawn rides on Suzanne Crochet's float. She was a maid in 2004, and she works as branch manager for the Berg, South Louisiana Bank. She serves on the board of the Terrebonne Historical Society, which is the Southdown Plantation. She has one son, Brady. Dawn's grandmother was a maid in the first year, 1951. Wow. Very nice. Her mother was in the club for 30 years. Dawn is very grateful for all the club volunteers that make this weekend a success.
Dawn and Lynn have worked all year long to make this weekend a success. It started in May when they took office and quickly selected the theme for the year, as well as the float titles and approved float costumes. They then began planning the tableau, monitoring float renovations, and numerous other things, including balancing the Carnival Club's budget. Insurance has gotten to be an expensive item for all Carnival clubs and takes up a great deal of the members' dues. A lot of hard work goes into this fun-filled weekend.
And we do want to mention, if we haven't before, the theme that they came up with for this year, Hyacinthians Play Candyland. So we're going to see a lot of the floats that are dedicated to different candies, and it's kind of neat as we were looking through the agenda before the parade, all the different floats which represent those different candies. Also want to let you know, lots of bands in today's parade. And as far as floats go, lots of floats too. We're looking at 16 floats in today's parade.
And you know, it mentions the work that goes into this. I don't think people realize when they come out to a parade what goes into actually making this day possible. These ladies didn't start this morning with that float. I mean, this is a year-round process. So you have to commend these ladies for all the hard work that they do for their club, and many of them do a lot of things for the community as well.
There's no doubt that they have fun during the year, but the fun and the hard work go hand in hand to make everything possible. And you know, at one time you may have mistaken that maybe Mardi Gras was a month-long period of time. It's not. It's 12 months, and these folks have a lot of fun. I know a lot of these ladies who ride on these floats are very good friends and have a lot of really fun times throughout the year. And you're talking about hard work. Just look
Those
at
costumes,
her headdress. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now we got to hope a big gust of wind doesn't come up for her.
I know.
She's in trouble.
She's having to balance herself.
Or she's in trouble.
And her costume definitely depicts their theme. You can see candy on one side, looks like wrapped hard candies, and I think the theme written on there. It's always amazing and exciting to see what their costumes look like. We can just mention, as you said, there's 16 double-decker throwing floats, and they have 377 members. They have a large crew.
Nice thing too is when you're talking about bands that in this thing, it's a lot, you know, we have the local bands from the area, but you also have a band from Carencro in here. May see one from Iowa in here. When I say Iowa, I mean the town. I should say Iota, which is in Louisiana.
Right.
They come in from all over, so it's nice to have them here on a Sunday afternoon.
It sure is. All right, and here we have the past Queen Hyacinth, the 59th, Miss Tamara Bergeron. Tamara rides on Angela Calitri's float. She enjoyed her reign as Queen Hyacinth and has fond memories of riding on Super Bowl Sunday last year. As she reaches the reviewing stand, she's going to be toasted by her husband, Mr. Michael Bergeron. The crew of Hyacinthians would also like to take a moment to express their thanks for the men and women who serve in the armed forces, and their club supports and appreciates the dedication and sacrifices. And there we have a good photo of Queen Hyacinth, the 59th, Miss Tamara Bergeron, and her husband, Michael.
Interestingly enough, I did not realize it, but you're right. A year ago, Hyacinthians had to roll a little bit earlier in the morning because the Saints were in the Super Bowl. What a difference a year makes.
Exactly. And I'm sure as a past queen, she has great memories of her year last year.
You're right. And, you know, she'll always be kind of linked to the Super Bowl championship.
That's right.
Day.
And she'll always be considered royalty.
If there is one maybe negative to the weather today, although it is cool, it makes it nice. The wind is blowing, and you just got to hope that along the way, especially with these double-decker floats, but they make sure everybody's safe along the way.
Right, especially I would like we were talking a minute ago about their big headdresses.
Yes.
That's got to be hard for them to sit there when the wind's blowing.
Exactly.
Here we're getting a shot of the king.
And the reviewing stand is actually filled up more and more as we started the parade. Nice crowd up here on the reviewing stand.
And that's the king, Tommy Abear, and his wife, Joan Marlborough.
I assume he's going to be out on a float pretty soon to make a toast to his queen.
He's preparing for his queen's arrival.
a little bit of hold up in the action. I'm not quite sure what the deal is here. I think we may have a situation where maybe a little bit further back, a float maybe getting repaired.
So. We're getting a first shot of our first band, which will be Vanderbilt.
And as you see it, folks, at home on the television, I'd guess they're probably about 400 yards down from us, about a quarter of a mile. But they look like they're at rest right now.
Yes, they do.
Vanderbilt often has the honors of leading the parades such as this. I know they were in Hyacinthians a year ago. A great band, great performances, great festival band, and it's going to be fun to see those guys come down here. And as I look at the police unit right down the way, they don't look in any hurry to get moving, so I'm sure there's a little bit of a holdup on the parade route.
And there's a shot of the band, and you can see the crowds. More and more people seem to be coming out as the parade nears.
I agree. I think what's happening is some of the people who may have caught it at the beginning are kind of catching up and catching it down here.
I talked to someone the other day who said they watch the parade sometimes in 3 different places. So a lot of people do that, I guess.
Well, actually, last night we had Aquarius, which was a Saturday night parade. Most folks know that. After the parade passed near the Southland Mall, I called home. I was here waiting for it. Got here a little early. And when I called, I could have come here after eating, probably stayed at the mall, ate somewhere, and come here. So a lot of people do that. They catch it at the end. But the nice thing is the parade route is long enough and thin enough that it allows everybody to get a good view of what's going on. And I think that's important. Instead of having a little short parade where you're 6 and 7 deep, it gives people the opportunity.
And I think it's a good safety issue as well.
I would say that we're probably in one of the more crowded areas, obviously being by the reviewing stand, but it's so nice in front of the courthouse and right across from the City Club that it kind of gets a little thick in this area. We also mentioned the throws that these floats have. Of course, we're going to have the throwing floats coming pretty soon. It's amazing how much these ladies throw in this parade and how they can make this go the entire route and last. And one thing we also mentioned, and we're going to see some probably pretty unique things in this parade, is the throws. Some crews are unique to certain throws, and last night, Joni Petrie, who does a lot of the parades, mentioned that she had pickles thrown at her. Wow, I don't think we're going to see that, no. But
I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of candy today, since
candy
goes with their theme of their float.
Then I wish we wouldn't have the big screen around us, because I could go for the candy coming in.
All right, well, it looks like the band is moving. Here we see the Vanderbilt Catholic High Regiment under the direction of Mr. Brad Adams. They have 138 members. The drum majors for Vanderbilt's regiment are Hunter Bound and Megan Chauvin. The Terrier Regiment, as I mentioned, has 138 members under the direction of Mr. Brad Adams and Steve Wilson. This is Mr. Adams' second year back as band director after spending 3 years as Vanderbilt's disciplinarian. It is Mr. Wilson's 5th year at Vanderbilt, serving as assistant director of bands, The Terrier Regiment has won numerous awards during the 2010-2011 marching season. At the Louisiana Showcase of Bands, they were awarded percussion and drum major champions. The regiment was one of only a few bands to receive a sweepstakes award, receiving 1s in all categories. In December, the Fantastics dance team traveled to Orlando to perform at the Capital One Bowl. In addition to the marching band, the regiment has a dance team, 2 winter guard groups, 2 concert bands, and an indoor percussion group. The Wind Symphony has been invited to the Disney Honors National Choral Concert Band and Orchestra Invitational at Walt Disney World in March, and Vanderbilt is the only Louisiana band invited to perform.
And I'm sure we're going to see them perform right here in front of the reviewing stand.
So we want to take a listen.
Vanderbilt Terrier Regiment.
Performances.
Had an encore at the end. Encore performance.
I have to admire these bands for marching through these parades. That's got to be tiring, especially with those carrying their instruments.
And when you consider that by the time they get to us, they've done 2/3 of this parade already.
That's right.
And then they stop at the stand to, you know, it's very nice, very nice.
There we have the king and his wife.
He's having a good time because I was watching him while the band was playing the entire time. He was dancing it up.
All right, and I think...
Not quite here yet, but the other thing, we talked about this last night, some of these bands have these beautiful band trailers that follow the band just in case you need to pick up instruments and such. And I got to tell you, just the band trailers are works of art in themselves.
They sure are. And I believe just coming into view, we were going to see, there she is, Queen Hyacinth the 60th, Miss Frida Doxey. Queen Frida Doxy has been in the club for 20 years, since 1991. She has been on the Just Us Girls float for all of those 20 years, where she was a co-captain for 10 years. She was a maid in 1991 for Queen Elise Crochet, and again in 2004 for Queen Joan Marlborough. She currently has worked for the last 29 years for the Special Education Department for the Terrebonne Parish School District. Queen Frida has 2 sons and 5 grandchildren. Her son Chad is a Duke on the Royal Court of 2011, and her daughter-in-law Sydney is completing her first year in the club. Looks like she's having a good time.
It does, and actually, I also work for the Terrebonne Parish Special Ed Department, and no Frida Doxy, as I've gotten lots of memos to keep my work in line and stuff. So it's fun to see her having a good time.
And as we've mentioned before, we've seen him on the reviewing stand. The queen's toasting her king this year will be Mr. Tommy Hebert.
You know, and although he's not riding, he's having as much fun, I'm sure, as they are up here.
I think so.
He is obviously, so to speak, the joy of the reviewing stand, and he's getting ready to go. I think she's also going to have the Royal Court, which I think is going to appear. This is probably the longest stop at the reviewing stand we'll see, and we're going to get to them a little bit later. But a lot of the young pages and dukes are going to jump out and probably go get a restroom break right here also.
And you know, along the parade route, sometimes you wonder what's taking so long, but you have to look at it from their point of view. This is a one-time opportunity for them, so they need to make the most of it, and there's people they want to recognize, and it obviously gives the pages an opportunity for a break as well. And there's a good shot of some of the pages and the Queen.
Looks like she's had a good day today.
Does look like she's had a great day. And we can go ahead and mention a few of the pages as they're showing them. Those are the Queen's pages. And that's Molly Vicnair, and who's the daughter of Lisa and Miles Vicnair, and Brant Theriot, who's the son of Carrie and Damon Theriot. Molly Vicnair is 8 years old, and she attends St. Francis. She enjoys dancing, art, and shopping, and she'd like to be a preschool teacher when she grows up. And Brant Theriot is 6 years old, and he also attends St. Francis. He enjoys fishing, playing video games, soccer, and baseball, and he wants to be a police officer when he grows up.
Yep, I think they're going to take that restroom break.
I think so too. And the other pages are Emma Bourgeois, who is the daughter of Shay and Errol Bourgeois, and Ethan Majewski, who's the son of Angel Landry and Martin Majewski. Emma is a 7 years old, and she attends Mulberry, and she likes dancing and art, and she wants to be an artist and a teacher when she grows up. Ethan Majewski is 7, and he attends Mulberry, and he likes riding outdoor dirt bikes, playing football, and fishing. And he would also like to be a police officer with his own motorcycle when he grows up. So we might see him in a parade down the road.
I think he likes the parade thing.
And as we mentioned, this is the point in the parade where the pages can get off of the float and kind of take a little rest, and the Queen will have some of her guests onto the float for pictures.
I think the first one we'll see is King, Mr. Tommy Hebert. And of course, Mr. Claudet is going to be the guy who gives a key to the city, I'd imagine, to both King and Queen in this particular parade.
I think so, it looks like it.
Michelle Claudet, of course, parish president of Terrebonne Parish. And we're fortunate to have a live mic, so we'll just listen in and kind of see what these guys have to say. Assuming we turn the mic on.
We can figure out how to do that. Oh.
He did it last night, so. Mr. Renee Rhodes going in to give him a hand with it. There we go.
On behalf of the citizens of the city of Houma and the parish of Terrebonne, it gives me great pleasure to present these keys to the city to our Queen Hyacinth 60 and King Hyacinth 60. May you have a long and happy reign. Here, you want
Don't go too far there. We're going to need that to get in the safe.
It only opens up until midnight.
Thank you, Mr. Clode. On behalf of the King and I, we would like to thank all of our family, friends, and everyone that came from out of town to join with us to make memories that will last a lifetime. Thank you all.
Now we're going from one chalice to another chalice.
Lots of toasting. And it's nice for us to have the opportunity for them to have a mic so we can hear
You're
what
right.
they're saying.
You're
Gives
right. In the past, sometimes we didn't know exactly what was going on, but it's nice for everybody in the area also to
Right.
hear everything.
Okay, y'all, raise y'all glasses. We're going to toast to the Queen Hyacinth the 6th, Miss Frida. One more toast. We're going to toast to this great parish we live in, Terrebonne Parish in Houma, Louisiana. One more. Krewe of Hyacinthians.
And to the best court of 2011 ever, with the greatest king ever.
And with that, we'll go ahead and mention who the dukes are for the Krewe of Hyacinthians. They are Mr. Doug Dupre, the husband of Karen Dupre, Mr. Nicholas Hebert, the husband of Heather Hebert, Mr. Chad Doxey, the husband of Sydney Doxey. And we'll listen in. I think maybe we're going to have a special presentation right now.
I think it's just a photo ops.
Okay. All right, well, we'll finish. Mr. Mitchell Hebert, Mr. Gary Chatinier, the husband of Sharon Chatinier, Mr. Dwayne Duplantis, the husband of Susan Duplantis, Mr. Harold Contian, the husband of Laura Contian, and Mr. John Page, the husband of Natalie Page. And again, we mentioned the pages for the Queen were Emma Bourgeois and Ethan Majewski and Molly Vicnair and Brant Theriault, who will, I'm sure, be enjoying their little break inside right now. And there
Still
we have
inside, still inside.
the King and Queen taking a photograph with the King's wife, Miss Joan Marlborough.
They have two sons, Nicholas and Mitchell.
Who are also dukes this year.
Now, interestingly enough, his wife usually rides on Suzanne Crochet's float, but I assume this year she decided to stay in the reviewing stand. Yeah, very good, very good.
And I believe Joan was the Queen several years ago. So they have lots of royalty in their family.
Unfortunately, we probably won't know every single person who goes up to take photos with them. Kind of wish we did,
I
but
know.
it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get this shot, so you got to get it while you can.
That's right. These have to be great photos for these people to have at their homes. So give them the opportunity. There's a good shot of the King and Queen.
Now, the one thing I've been interested in is you know, are we going to see Miss Marguerite Roper?
Son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren.
Very good. I'm glad he
now we know
announced that. That's good.
Who it is.
Very good.
bet the florists in Houma are just as busy for Mardi Gras as they are for Valentine's Day.
You said the exact thing. Last night I did Aquarius with Joni Petrie. She said the exact same thing. She said the florists in Houma have to be booming right now. They must love Mardi Gras time.
Right, because there's a lot of Mardi Gras events that go on, you know, for months.
That's
so
right. That's
there's
right.
Lots of
You better keep the yellow roses in stock.
That's
Anything
right.
with yellow and purple,
Purple
and green,
green.
you want it. Interestingly, they give the flowers, but then I think she wants them stored away somewhere else, so they actually pull them back with them. I guess I'll have them for her later.
Probably hard to have all that on her float with all of her throws.
Can you imagine? And I'm not quite sure of the time, but let's say, you know, 3:30-ish, and they had their tableau last night.
And then they had to get on those floats this morning.
Unbelievable. It's going to be a long day, but I'm sure a fulfilling day.
Well, I live near the mall, and I could hear sirens when I got up this morning. And, you know, at first I'm like, gosh, did I oversleep? You know, what time is it? But they get started early in the morning. I think they probably have breakfast with their floats and ride around town and then to get on the float. So they've had a long couple of days preparing for this.
Well, I know they definitely, whatever they do it early, because I have sisters who ride on some of the floats later in the parade, and I text at 7:30, and they were right back texting that they were already there, getting set up and everything. So it's an all-day affair, an all-year affair. Very nice photo opportunities.
Nice. And as we're looking here on the screen, I'm not sure they can tell, but their crowns are beautiful. The kings, I can't really tell of the queens, but the king's crown has fleur-de-lis around it, so it's really unique and certainly perfect for this area.
That actually looks like Miss Gaspard there, Miss Judy Gaspard.
I think it is. She's actually a maid this year.
Yeah, and she is dressed in a traditional maid's gown, so. I thought maybe we would see her on a car. I wonder if.
He is now joined by the Passman family.
I think she might be on the
That's
riding
what she
just
did.
right behind the
That's
queen,
what
so
that
she
is.
was able to.
That is Miss Judy. Her car is directly behind the Queen's float. She hopped out. She got up there for a picture. And as a matter of fact, last Thursday night, I saw those two over at the festival, the rock concert, the Carnival Rock concert here in Houma.
And as we mentioned earlier, this is just a great opportunity for the king and the queen's family to board the floats and
The
take
Queen
pictures
is now
with them.
joined by the Payne and Allstoff's family. Close.
I'm glad we have Mr. Rhodes kind of giving a description of each family that goes up to take pictures.
Yes, and we had the opportunity to watch. He definitely has done this before and knows a lot about the process.
I
and
agree.
probably makes it run quite smoothly.
But it's nice to be informed. It's nice even to have this DVD where in the future you know exactly who was who. And
exactly.
I don't see the pages coming back yet, so I think we may have a few more photo opportunities going on. I do think Miss Gaspard made her way back to her car.
Bring all the Dukes out.
And I think the Dukes are going to
Four of
be.
you on this side.
Yeah,
four
maybe
of
you
on
could run
this
down
side.
those Dukes
Yes.
again for everyone.
Okay, the Dukes again this year are Mr. Doug Dupre, who's the husband of Karen Dupre, Mr. Nicholas Abair, who's the husband of Heather Abair and also son of the King, Mr. Chad Doxey, husband of Sidney Doxey, and he's the Queen's son, Mr. Mitchell Abair, who's the son of the King, Mr. Gary Chotnier, husband of Sharon Chotnier, Mr. Darren Duplantis, the husband of Susan Duplantis, Mr. Harold Consian, the husband of Laura Consian, and Mr. John Page, who is the husband of Natalie Page. So a lot of family on this
No doubt.
court.
No doubt.
That's a great picture right
That
there.
is a very good picture. We talked about the hard work. There's obviously no lack of finances that go into some of these things when you make the commitment. If you are king, you are queen. It's certainly, again, a great time, but a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of things you have to take care of along the way.
And I would imagine as much fun as it is, I bet it's absolutely exhausting as well. There will be a lot of people wanting some rest tomorrow.
I agree. I agree.
And that's the King's sons right there, Mitchell and Nicholas.
And Mom came back
And
in.
King's wife, Joan Marlborough.
Great shot. See who's making their way up now. So we're finding out that's more of King
Family.
Abair's family, huh? His brother Beau with his family.
That's Councilman Billy Abair. I didn't realize that was his brother. You just never know who's related in Houma. Some small town after all.
You're right. Houma's become a big town that's still a small town.
Yeah.
And once again, a few years ago we did this, and I didn't even realize at the reviewing stand how much went on, but it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You have to take advantage of the opportunity, and obviously Frida Doxey and Tom Abair will only reign once a year, and this is the year. Once in a year.
This is their moment to shine, so they want to take complete advantage of it and get all of their family included and involved in the process. We can go ahead and mention, I think we're going to see the pages coming back on in a few minutes. They are Emma Bourgeois, who's the daughter of Shay and Errol Bourgeois, and Ethan Majewski, who's the son of Angel Landry and Martin Majewski. And we also have Molly Vignair, who's the daughter of Lisa and Miles Vignair, and Brant Terrio, who's the son of Carrie and Damon Terrio.
We really don't want to forget the Queen's float scroll barriers, although
Ladies
Janet and
gentlemen,
I
at
are
this
kind of
time,
looking for them right
the
now.
Krewe of Hyacinthians will be making a very special presentation. This is the 60th year for the Krewe of Hyacinthians, and we have one living charter member for the Krewe of Hyacinthians, and they would like to, in a very special way, thank Miss Margaret Roper for her years of dedication and service to the ladies of the Krewe of Hyacinthians.
Very nice.
That is nice.
And she looks great. She looks like she could be up on a float.
That's what I was just fixing to say. It looks like she could take off from here and go ride.
60-year charter member of Hyacinthians.
I bet it would be interesting to hear some of her stories.
agree.
How the,
I
parade
agree.
process has progressed over those 60 years.
1951, the first rolling. I think when they start to pull away, I'm really going to look for those scroll bearers.
Right, we're not sure where they are, but we don't want to forget to mention them. Just from our vantage point right now, we can't see them.
There's a good chance, and we're kind of getting word that maybe right behind the float, you know, and we'll wait to see if we see those guys there. At any rate, we're going to give you their names. Janet will pass that on to you as soon as the float moves on just a bit.
As we leave the reviewing stand, we would like to thank the 325 women that will be following us from the Krewe of Hyacinthians, and thank everyone that was here to appreciate this great club, and thank Miss Marguerite Roper, because without you, we wouldn't have this today. Thank you.
One more time, guys. Ladies. To the Krewe of Hyacinthians.
It was a great ride. Thank you.
It looks like they're
Yeah,
getting the pages back on the float and getting them secure.
that's the one thing. As far as the pages go, they are very, very well taken care of for the entire route.
Yeah, they make sure that they have a harness so that they're not going to fall off the float or have any problems. This has to be a great opportunity for someone from that age to be able to ride on the floats and be able to go back to school and tell all their friends about it.
You know, we must mention that Queen also has a harness too. I mean, she's obviously safe up there too.
Right.
From falling, from quick starts.
And especially with the wind today, it's nice to have that protection.
And I do see the bearers, scroll bearers actually getting in their cars behind it, so we'll get them
Okay.
as soon as they get up here just a little bit in camera view.
And the Queen's ready to continue her reign today, it looks like.
And we were told that now each maid actually is riding behind a car, so we'll see some more stops at the reviewing stand. Sometimes they all ride on one particular float, but I think they're riding singularly along the parade route in a car. But I do think we're ready to move
I
as the
think
guy
so.
has gotten in the truck, and they'll be moving on now.
And this is Queen Hyacinth the 60th, Frida Doxy. And she's making her way past the reviewing stand. All right, in there we have the scroll bearers for the King and Queen. They are Grace Fondren, the daughter of Lauren and Fred Fondren, and Sydney Thompson, the daughter of Farrah and Mike Thompson. Grace is 8 years old and she attends St. Francis. She enjoys playing soccer and swim team, and she would like to work with animals when she grows up. Sydney Thompson is 7 years old and she attends St. Francis as well. She enjoys dancing and art, and she would like to be a famous dancer or a veterinarian when she grows up. And Sydney's family has been a part of the club for many years.
Very nice, very nice.
Again, that's Grace Fondren and Sydney Thompson. Looks like they might be enjoying a little snack while they're stopped right there.
They are, and I see Vincent Kramer out there, so another photo opportunity.
Yeah, this is a long day for anyone, but for these kids, it's an especially long day. But it looks like they're enjoying themselves and having a great time.
Yeah, they're making sure that they're strapped in, and you're right. I think they all took a break to eat just a little bit also. Yeah, they go moving down. And we saw Miss Judy Gaspard up here a little bit early. I don't think she's actually going to be riding anymore, as it looked like she kind of took off part of her
Maybe so.
costume. But we do want to pass on. She represents the Candy Lollipop. She's from Just Us Girls Float and has been a member of the same float for 16 years. Judy is a retired educator and principal for a long time in Terrebonne Parish. Judy was a past maid in 2004 for Queen Joan Marlborough. So there we go. We confirmed it.
That's right.
And again in 2011 for Queen Frida Doxson. She was earlier toasted by her Duke, Doug Dupre.
And here we're looking at the Midland High School Band under the direction of Drew Broussard. They've come from Lafayette to march in today's parade. The 41 members of the Midland High School Band enjoy coming to Houma to march in the parade. It's nice to see an out-of-town band.
It is very nice. Midland is a very, very small school there, a Class B school, so which means they're probably at about 200 and something students. So not a real big band, but a nice travel for them.
All right, and here we're coming into view with their title float. This is King Candy representing Hyacinthians theme. The Hyacinthians play Candyland. Again, this year their salutes Candy in the children's game Candyland. The title float, it has 26 riders, captained by Miss Jackie Sinak, and the co-captains are Brenda Gray and Candace Poisson. Jackie is a past queen, number 14 in the club's 60-year history. She was also a past president, past vice president, and past board member. She's been a member of the club for the past 41 years and volunteers countless hours embellishing costumes for the court. Miss Jackie never tells a president no who asks for help. She helps design and made new mantles for the king and queen, which were worn by the queen and the king for the tableau. And Candace Poisson is a former board member and is Miss Jackie's granddaughter. And their family is very, very involved in Carnival, and they just do a lot for the club. Again, this is the first float, the title float.
Okay, good throws coming from this float.
And I see Miss Jackie on the bottom of the float. And we can see coming into view the antique truck from Davidson's Hardware. The Davidson truck is a 1931 Ford AA ton-and-a-half commercial vehicle. It was purchased by Davidson Hardware in the late 70s to be used as an icon to celebrate the 100th year of doing business in Terrebonne Parish from 1885 to 1985. The restoration took several years and the involvement of many people. Finally, in January of 1985, the truck was ready to show. And actually, I think what we're seeing is Miss Judy Gaspard getting back into her car.
She's not in probably the right order anymore, but who cares? She's still number one.
That's right. That's right.
She'll be riding just in front of the antique car.
And as a side note, my grandfather was a teacher and actually taught Miss Judy Gaspard.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
I met her probably 20 years ago, as I've been in the system for quite some time, and every place that she was an administrator, everybody loved her.
Yes. I had a
her.
friend who worked for her and thought she was wonderful. So she's having to do double duty today, not only riding, but she had to scoot on to the reviewing stand for some photos, and now she's able to get back into her car. And there we see the Davidson trucks again. And as I was mentioning, they've had the truck was bought to celebrate their 100th anniversary, and they have also used the parade for the Mardi Gras parades, as well as it has been used in a few Hollywood movies, weddings, and various attractions throughout the parish. Davidson Hardware and Supply is proud to be in the 5th generation of family ownership and management. Davidson's Hardware would also like to thank the Ladies Carnival Club for the opportunity to be a part of the parade. And while Miss Gaspard's there, she's having to have her toast as well to the royalty and the crew that are in the reviewing stand.
I think we had saw where her Duke a little bit earlier was maybe Doug Dupre, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw
Maybe
Doug
so.
Dupre out there.
That's right.
We need to go up a little bit. There she goes. That is a nice looking vehicle.
That is. And there's the Davidson truck passing by.
And just for a little sidebar, the state police have the crash dummies. I guess just to make sure everybody's safe on the way going home. Just a reminder, take it easy, be safe.
That's right. We also want to thank all the local police and law enforcement who participate in the parades and help to keep everyone safe.
Yeah, putting this many people together all at one time, and usually, especially in our home area, we don't have very many problems, and it's really nice, and that's due in large part to both the Houma Police and the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office.
Right, I think it's a great example for people to see how you can come together in large groups and have a good time and bring your family out as well.
Very good. C-107 passed by.
And here we have the Carencro Middle School. They're under the direction of Mike McGee, and they have 50 members. So another out-of-town band. This is a middle school. Nice to see them out today.
Mr. McGee actually worked in our area for a while, so this is kind of a homecoming for him.
Wow.
And I have a feeling you're going to see him play his trumpet because he is a very, very good musician, and I know he gets involved with the band and playing with them.
I think you're right. Let's listen in.
Here we go.
job. They're under the direction of Mr. Mike McGee, who also played.
I wonder what I was trying to pick up what he was doing.
Who dat? Tell you what, they're a good band.
Yeah,
they
they're
really
very
are.
strong. The musicianship is good. For those not familiar with Carencro, obviously just north of Lafayette in Lafayette Parish.
This is a middle school band.
And we have to remind everybody they're 2/3 through this parade. So I imagine they've walked so far, what, maybe 3 miles, a little bit more?
So. I would think so.
And they still got it going. I think we got another encore going now. I think they're going back to their Cajun ancestry there in the Acadiana area. Okay, another encore.
Wow. They're giving quite the performance.
Yep, now we Carencro with Zydeco music.
Carencro Middle School, they've given quite a performance for the reviewing stand.
Quite a performance. Is that number 3 coming down the road?
I think this is float number 2. Yeah, this is the Three Musketeers.
You're right. You are right.
Their captain is Angel Landry, and their co-captains are Mary Adu and Pam Russo. Angel Landry is the club secretary. Angel and Lisa Robichaud are current board members from this float, and Mary Adu is a past president, past vice president, and a former board member. Cindy Leeret from this float is also a former board member, and Amy Henley is a past maid. This is the Three Musketeers. So let's see if they're going to be throwing any Three Musketeers. I don't see any candy bars,
No,
but
I
I
don't
see
see
a lot
candy.
of beads.
A lot of beads. A lot of Mardi Gras colored beads, and of course no shortage of Saints black and gold beads.
And a lot of the crew members on this float have black and gold
Having a good
cowboy
time.
hats.
They are having a good time. Smiles all around. Next float. Now we're on number 3.
Now we're on number 3.
Jawbreakers. The captain for the float Jawbreakers is Brooke Leeret, co-captain. We don't have a co-captain's name for this one, but we do know that there are 24 riders on this float. 33 years ago, Susan Richard's mom, Pat Flynn, former member and club president, recruited Sharon and Susan Pellegrin, Queen 1992, into the club. Sharon has been a captain for most of those years. Her daughter Tricia Cormouche is third generation, and her daughter-in-law is Catherine Richard, also is a float captain. And I'm going to ask you a little help maybe on pronouncing that.
I don't want to mispronounce it.
Sanea Richard are also members. Joan Glover, Pansy Chauvin, and Tina Chauvin, former board members, have been in the club for 25 years, and Tina's daughter, Kara Hamilton, also is a former board member. They all look the same, though.
They
are
do.
blondes.
They did a great job disguising themselves.
Shirley Melanson, Yoli Funderbook, Jeannie Pellegrin, and Carlotta Bergeron are all 20-year-plus members and have daughters Amy Melanson, Jenny Laperouse, Andre Guidry, and Amy Lejeune, Angie Pellegrin, and Brooks Leeret riding in the club.
All right, and here we have maid number 2, Tiffany Ashley. Maid Tiffany represents the Candy Pixie Sticks. She has been in the club for 2 years and rides Suzanne Crochet's float. She is married with one 4-year-old daughter and another baby on the way. Today she's being driven by her husband Logan. She is thrilled that they get to share the ride together, and she is being toasted by her Duke Mitchell Abear. So I imagine being an expectant mom, that costume can be quite heavy, especially if she would have the headdress on.
Yes, but it's better than being on a float today.
Oh,
obviously.
absolutely.
Better than being on a float.
And again, this is maid Tiffany Ashley, and she's taking a photograph with her Duke Mitchell Abear. As we mentioned, she's being driven today by her husband, Logan.
Photo out for husband, too.
Yep.
He's got to get it. There we go.
He's working hard today as well.
That's right. That's right. And we talk about a lot of the maids who are in there, their husbands have to go through a lot all year long also.
And probably do a lot of work as well.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, here we have float number 4, Nerds. Their captain is Melanie Babin, and their co-captain is Tara Coleman. Liz Kervanik was a maid in 2009. Vera Millet was a maid in 2000 and also served on the board. And Sharon Chotney was a past president, and they have a past queen, Dot Wu. And also Barbara Burr, who was a past president, past vice president, former officer, and a former board member on this float. Great costumes.
Yeah, they went with the nerd look and they pulled it off.
I see, and I've seen on several floats the riders taking pictures, because that's a great vantage point as well.
I agree. That's a good viewpoint and something that you don't see very often. Even a video camera up there would be pretty fun.
Would be.
More antique cars, really good looking cars. Of course, we saw the Davidson Hardware ones earlier. These are from the Lanyap Antique Auto Club. That is a club that obviously is run by Susan Pizzolata and Martin St. Romain. The Lanyap Antique Auto Club has been a part of Hyacinthians parades for more than 10 years.
Nice addition to have that in the parade.
Yeah, speaking of having a passion for something, you certainly have to have a passion to restore these cars and keep them in classic shape like they are.
That's right, that's a lot of work.
And I think they put the cars in the order of age, because as we go on,
They're
it looks
progressing.
like, yeah, they're progressing a little bit, and you can see them kind of taking shape.
It sure does. That's exactly what it looks like.
That's the one I want, the silver one coming up right there. That's it.
Yeah, is that a Rolls Royce?
I'm not sure. As it gets closer, we'll see. As a kid seeing the old ZZ Top
Videos,
car
yeah.
videos, you know, you'd see a car pretty much looking like that one in there. You know, I'm looking at the insignia on the front. You may very well be right.
I don't know a lot about cars, but that's what it looks like.
Let's see if we could get a good shot.
No, I don't know if that's what it is.
No, I don't think so either.
It's a nice car.
Yeah, it's a nice car. Sometimes on the back end you can see, and very nice, very nice. So is that one. We're kind of popping into the 60s with that one.
Whoa. All right, here we have float number 5, Pop Rocks. Their captains Lindsay Claymont, and their co-captains are Aaron Flynn and Jennifer Lapierus. They have 28 riders on this float. Lindsay Claymont is a former board member. Kara Hamilton is a former board member. Missy Domingue is a past queen. Jill Polero-Bergeron is from Houma and now lives in Denver and flies in every year to ride in the parade. So
Wow.
she's a diehard.
That's dedication.
We also have a lot of sisters on this float. Lindsay Claymont and Lisa Vicknayer, whose daughter is a page this year. Christy Mazer and Kelly Hebert. Stacy Schwilly, Aaron Flynn and Farrah Thompson, whose daughter is a scroll bearer this year. Amy Lagarde and Audra Guidry, Renee LeConte and Leslie Evans, and Missy Domingue and Shelley Guidry.
Pop Rocks. You are doing a good job of getting all those names in.
I'm trying.
No, great job.
And forgive us for any mispronunciations.
You're doing a great job. And it was actually, as I look through it and I'm following you a little bit, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm glad she has to say that name.
All right, here is maid number 3, Nicole Leday. Maid Nicole represents the spicy candy hot tamales. She is married to Corey Leday and is the mother of Austin Leday, 14, and Owen Leday, who is 6. Nicole is a registered nurse with a Bachelor of Science of Nursing degree from Nichols. She's been working at Terrebonne General for 15 years and is currently the nurse coordinator for the inpatient rehab unit. She joined the club in 1997 to ride with her mom, Mary Laperouse, who has been a member since 1986. They have ridden alongside each other since Nicole's first ride in 1998. They also have a sister, Joan Lima, and a sister-in-law, Robin Laperouse, who's a current board member, as fellow riders in the club. It's a family affair. Many of the members in her family have been royalty. Nicole was a maid in 2004 when Joan Marlborough, the current king's wife, was queen. She wishes to thank her husband for driving her today. Nicole is so glad they got to share the special day together. She also wishes to thank her mom for many fun years of being in Hyacinthians together. She will never forget the tableaus and parades they have shared together. So it's quite a family affair for them.
You want to know when you said her maiden name? I taught her. I'm getting old. I said, Nicole Laperouse. I know Nicole Laperouse. So I taught her way back when.
And there's her Duke. I think that is Nicholas Abair she's toasting with. That's one thing from this script that we can see is it's definitely a family affair.
I agree.
And lots of, sisters and sister-in-laws and aunts, all of them riding together, which is a great thing.
You see the lineage along the way of how it formed and why they're here and such, so it's very nice.
Okay. Here's float 6, 5th Avenue. Their captain is Shar Herquez. Shar Herquez has been a member of the club for 15 years. She's been the float captain for the past 2 years. She was a maid when Missy Domingue was queen in 2000. Her husband Tony has been a duke twice for King Mike Duplantis and King Darren Guidry. There are 3 sisters that ride this float, and they are Mary Bork, Marsha Williams, and Susie Johnson. And Susie is a maid this year. Marsha Williams has 2 daughters on the float, Jane Chauvin and Rebecca Williams. Marsha Williams has been a club president and is a past maid for Queen Laura Consier. Susie Johnson was a maid in 1989 and 2000. Mary Bork has been president 2 times and been a float captain for 3 years. She was a maid in 1986 and also served on the board. Pat Herquez, who was a float captain, has been in the club many, many years, and she held the office of presidency several years and has served on the board. She was queen in 1994 with King Philip Wu.
Debbie LeConte was a maid for Queen Missy Domingue in 2007. Emily Price was held. Boy, and I'm going to tell you, I'm glad they give us all this information. Has held the office of presidency and vice presidency several times. She has been on the board too many years to count. She also has been a maid, so a lot of participation on that float.
And a lot of family on that float
as well.
That's right.
K-Rock Van, 106.3. I worked for those guys during the high school football season, bringing football games. So, very nice van. Nicer looking on the outside than it is on the inside.
And here we have float 7, Candy Corn. Their float captain is Suzanne Crochet, and their co-captain is Susan Duplantis. There are 22 riders. The float represents Candy Corn. The queen this year, Miss Frida Doxey, is from this float. So is the king. Tommy Abair's, his wife Joan Marlborough, is from this float, and she's a past queen. There have been 6 queens from this float. Queen Frida Doxey, Queen Suzanne Crochet, Queen Joan Marlborough, Queen Laura Consier, Queen Mary Ann Boudreaux, and Queen Elise Crochet. So lots of royalty on this float.
I agree.
Suzanne Crochet, who's the float captain, past queen, former president, and a vice president, is also a former board member. Susan Duplantis, the co-captain, past maid, and wife of Duke Dwayne Duplantis.
See Miss Pat Adams, who works for the schools, or worked for the school system, I should say, is present board member and past president. Also has been a maid since 1996. Let's see, Tiffany Ashley, a maid on the 2011 court, daughter of former Queen Laura Consier. Mary Bergeron, the first maid. Mary Ann Boudreaux, the past queen, former maid, wife of former King Larry Boudreaux. Shea Bourgeois, past maid and mother of Paige Emma Bourgeois. Laura Consier, past queen, former board member and former maid, a wife of Duke Harold Consier, and mother of maid Tiffany Ashley. Karen Dupre, former maid and wife of Duke Doug Dupre. Man, they involved with all the royalty, I think that's here. Judy Gaspard, who is actually a maid this year. Pam Guidry, former maid and wife of past King Darren Guidry. Mona Hebert, former maid, not finished yet. Mary Justice, who is a maid this year. Mary Laperouse, mother of past King Chris Laperouse. Nicola Day, maid this year. Dawn Pierron, of course, we saw her a little bit earlier. And Roxanne Thibodeau. So everybody on that float is part of the royalty.
Absolutely. And we have a maid coming up here.
Yeah, we're a little bit off because I know we didn't see Susie Johnson yet, and that's not Susie.
That's not Susie Johnson, so.
No, it is not. That's Janelle Cunningham, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. That's right. She represents Skittles. Maid Janelle, as I mentioned, represents the brightly colored candy Skittles. She's been in the club for 21 years. She was a maid in 2002 when Susie Dupre Newell was the queen. She is a former board member. She is married to Ron Cunningham. She has one daughter, Lacey, who is married to Heath McCaskill, and they have a 3-year-old daughter, Haley Renee. Janelle is a gifted and talented teacher at Broadmoor Elementary School, and she rides on Lori Hamner's float. She's being toasted by her Duke, Gary Chotinier. And one thing I'll tell you, too, I've noticed there's certainly a lot of school teachers and school administration in this, this crew.
I've noticed the same thing, and I know a lot of them from the school system. The only thing is I noticed a little bit earlier, I thought we would see Susie Johnson come by as one of the maids. We didn't see her come through yet.
And that might maybe mean that she's further along. They might have changed the order. So
Yeah,
we'll
and we'll certainly pass that on as it becomes available.
And we have a band here.
That's Grand Collier Middle's band, the Wildcats of Grand Collier Middle, as I travel down there once a week to see some of the kids who are actually in this band. So it's kind of nice to see them in action today.
And they're under the direction of Mr. Ben Tomplay, and they have 50 members in their band.
There's my man Nick Dion there on the quads playing the drums. He's a good guy, good guy, good for Nicholas.
And he saw you too.
Yes, he did.
Okay, and here we have float number 8, Bit of Honey. Their captain is Lori Hamner. Their co-captain is Jamie Falls, and they have 22 riders. Lynn Myers is the vice president and parade captain and a present board member. Jamie Falls is a former board member and designed and made Lynn Myers' captain's costume. Lori Hamner is a former board member. Robin Laperouse is a former board member. Vicki Rhodes is a former board member. Susie Dupre Newell is a past queen. There are 3 sets of sisters on the float. Lori Hamner and Lynn Myers, Monica Ruth and Connie Girardi, and Robin Laperouse and Ruby LeConte. Out of 22 riders, 13 riders work in education. Lori's float would like to send a shout out to their float rider, Connie Girardi, who is currently battling cancer. They say they love you and to stay strong.
Lori is an itinerant teacher, and we cross paths a lot. She's actually taking photographs on the front of the float right now, doing a good job with it. I'd love to see those pictures. That's got to be fun pictures.
I know, it would be a great viewpoint. And this is Maid Shanna Email.
No, that's Susie.
Oh, that's Susie, okay.
This is interesting, and folks, you have to bear with us a little bit. That is Susie Johnson, and they're a little bit out of order, and we'll get them caught up to you as best we can, as on the agenda that we have there. Not quite set up the right way, but there she is with her Duke.
And she has been a club member since 1984 for 27 years. This is the 3rd time she has been a maid. She was a maid in 1989, 2000, and now in 2011, every 11 years. She served on the board for 7 years, chairing numerous committees, and worked on all the fundraising activities for the club. She is toasted by her Duke, Dwayne Duplantis.
I worked with Susie for a long time. She was a coordinator of the talented programs in Terrebonne Parish, retired, and now is the state director. She works in Baton Rouge. She actually just comes home on weekends, but she works in Baton Rouge.
This is float 9, Candy Canes with Angela Calitri. There's 24 riders on this float. Their captain is Angela Calitri. Their co-captain is Dana Schwab. And Dana is a board member. And there's Kelly Graffanino, who's a board member and a past maid. The past queen, Tamara Bajeron, is from this float. And there are two sets of sisters riding on this float, Dana and Catherine Schwab, and Gabby, Ernie, and Monique Callegry. So lots of sisters on these floats, which
You're
is
right,
great.
it's a family thing, a big family. The theme we've been seeing is family, and a lot of people work in the school system.
Right.
And I got to tell you, they did a great job of giving us a script. And I've done a few parades over the last years, and I enjoy coming to parades. But boy, I got to thank you, Janet. You're doing a great job going through all of this, as this is the best script.
It is a great script,
we
because
have
I've
ever
done quite
gotten.
a few of these as well. And we like to be able to give as much information as we possibly can to the audience so that they know what's going on. So we appreciate the crew taking the time to put together such a great script.
Little bit of break. What's interesting is we have another May coming up, but we want to make sure we get it right. You see it? There we go.
I think this is Shanna Email representing Jolly Rancher, if my
Yep.
eyesight is
You
correct.
are correct. Good eyesight.
Shanna represents the Jolly Ranchers Candy, and she's been a member for 3 years and rides on Lori Hamner's float, Bit of Honey. She's married to Mike Email and has 3 children, Danae, Zachary, and Miranda. And this is her first time as a maid, and she's going to be toasting her Duke, John Page. And I tell you, her costume looks just like a Jolly Rancher.
Well, I got to tell you, if there's a favorite in candies for me and all of this, I love
I
Jolly
do
Ranchers.
too.
So she wins
Yep.
the award for that. It takes us a little while. We're kind of getting it right. They have a great script, but there were a couple of things out of order. And one of my favorite bands, Lutcher High School's band, in the play.
And they're under the direction of David Lott.
Lutcher High School, of course, in a district with Vanderbilt Catholic and Ellender Memorial, which is District 8-4A. So we see them come to the area every once in a while, but a very good, entertaining band.
It's nice to see so many out-of-town bands in this parade today.
Maybe more out of town than in
I
town
think so.
today. Okay, watch it the way I'm doing this, Janet.
Okay,
Ready?
I'm gonna
Ready? Watch. Float number 10 is saltwater taffy. Do you know why I took it over? Because it has the shortest it has the shortest script out of all of them that I saw so far. So I'll give you a little reprieve for
Okay,
just
well,
a
let's
little
see if
while.
you pronounce all the names
Oh,
correctly.
good. Yeah, maybe so I just stuck my foot in my mouth, huh? Here we go. Let's try it. Captain is Christine Walker. Co-captain is Rhonda Rao.
Rao.
Very good.
Rhoda Rao.
Rhoda Rao. Wow. You know what? Maybe I just need to let you do this the rest of the way. How about Kelly Casio?
Casio.
Okay, very good. Is the present board member. Patty Danos is the present board member. Past queen, and she was Queen Hyacinth the 50th. Wow. Well, that must be a great honor. And is a past vice president. Teresa Duplantis.
Correct.
Very good. Present board member whose husband, Mike, is a past king. For the 50th celebration. Mike has helped out the ladies of Hyacinthians at the tableau and reviewing stands for many years. And Janet, it's official. You're taking over from now on.
And I'll give you another bit of information. We've seen her husband here today on and getting on and off the float when they were toasting. And Christine Walker and Patty Danos are sisters whose mother was on the title float and has been a member for many years as well. So their family has been involved in
So
Carnival
another
release.
connection. I mean,
Another connection, that's right.
Very good, very good. Big parade. I think we got Evergreen's band coming up.
I think you're right. As you mentioned, they give us great scripts, but sometimes when they're lining everything up, their order changes for one reason or another.
And we were told that. We were told there may be a few things that were a little bit in a different order, but obviously, being that we see the big banner in the front, we know this is Evergreen Junior High, and we see the colors, green and gold.
And they have a large band, it looks like.
Very large. Both Evergreen and Houma Junior High have very large bands for, it's a lot of their 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, and both bands are very good bands. Do a great job.
And we also need to mention all the parents that have to come out and be involved in order for these bands to be here, because without that support, it would really be impossible for them to come out.
Well, you can see it in this shot. If you see on each side of the band, that's all parents who are walking along, dedicated band parents who are making sure nothing happens to the kids. And once again, fortunately, in Houma, we're a pretty safe place. We don't have people coming out of the crowd and doing things they shouldn't be doing. Evergreen, you're right, a lot of members in that band, and we see the cheerleaders, and we see the dance team.
A lot of them out here today. I would say well over 100.
I am so pro kids getting into these extracurricular activities, just from the standpoint of all the negative things they could be doing in the world, they're out here doing something positive.
I agree. And then, of course, following the band, they always have their support, their trailers, as you mentioned before, in case something happens, they break down, or you see a few band members in the back of the truck that, might need a break because they're wearing these costumes and carrying these instruments. Some of them might have to take a break throughout the parade.
There's actually one band in the area that has a portalette inside of their trailer, so in case they got into a emergency situation.
I never really thought about that, but that could be a problem along the parade route.
Could be.
All right, here we have float number 11, Safety Pops. There are 22 members. Their captain is Mia Sonata. Their co-captain is Kathy Jo Hamner. And Mia and Kathy Jo are present board members. Jackie Bernard is the club treasurer and a current board member. Antoinette Benton is a past maid. Maria Archer is a past maid. And Paula Nakian is a past maid.
So, I should have picked that one.
Right, you
I knew those names. And the other names, once you say it, it's just a deal of trying to get it together.
Absolutely.
But
I'm looking at this float because I know a few people on this float. And it's interesting today with the social media that they have, was being able to follow where the parade was and seeing all of these ladies getting on their floats and where they were along the routes. Kind of, just in the times that I've done the parade, announcing how things have changed and how you can really keep up with where the floats are.
It's nice to track everything. It is nice. You know where things are at. And just for a point of reference, it's about, let's say, 4:35 right now. This thing started at 12, so they've been on the road for quite some time.
These ladies don't look tired, though.
No,
they have a lot of energy.
No, they're moving, huh? To think their tableau was last night. That's what's amazing about everything. What a tableau last night.
All right, and here we have another maid. This is Mary Justice, who's representing Starburst. She's been a member of the Krewe of Hyacinthians for 14 years. Her float captain is Suzanne Crochet. She's originally from Ruston, Louisiana. She's lived in Houma for the past 33 years. She retired from the Terrebonne Parish School System 3 years ago, where she served as a French and journalism teacher at South Terrebonne High School. For 14 years, she was an assistant principal at Elysian Fields and Grand Caillou Middle School for 1 year, and she was the principal at Berg Elementary School for the last 14 years of her career. Her husband of 30 years, Jim, is the business unit manager for Wood Group Production Services. They have one son, Jamie, of Bossier City, and one daughter, Jeannie, of McKinley, Texas. Mary and Jim are the proud grandparents of Jeannie and Brian's 4 children, Mary Beth, who's 9, Allison, 7, Charlotte, 4, and John, 2. Mary says her favorite thing about belonging to Hyacinthians is the wonderful and long-lasting friendship she's made with her fellow Just Us Girls float members under the leadership of Suzanne Crochet. This is her first time being a maid, and she says she's made memories that will last a lifetime.
Worked right next door to her for 14 years at South Terrebonne.
And this is float 12, Kit Kat. The captain is Catherine Richard. Co-captain is Becky Arnett. There's 28 float members, 26 riders. Miss Louise Moore and Miss Marguerite Roper are 2 non-riding members, and Miss Marguerite Roper was who they recognized earlier as one of the founding members of the club. There are mother and daughters that ride, are Debbie Benoit and her daughters are Jenna Haydow and Juliet Boyce and Jermaine Benoit. Lana Heck Stagney is a past maid. Sisters that ride are Amy Bice and Andrea Olivier, and there's a board member, Jessica Guidry, and they have 5 out-of-town riders. 5 from Baton Rouge, Tricia Parmus, Juliet Boyce, Heather Cross, Paula Davis, Tara Weinstein, and Jermaine Benoit, who's from Jackson, Mississippi. Catherine's float would like to send a shout out to Miss Marguerite Roper, who is battling cancer. Stay strong, we love you.
We didn't know that, so that's nice to know along the way.
And we see some more of the cars.
Yep, that one kind of got lost in the shuffle somewhere, but that's very nice. And nice to have the Acadian ambulance, although they better watch out for their lives as they come through.
And you know, this year we've seen, as in the beginning of the parade with the Sheriff's Department, more of them on golf carts. Maybe they're trying to save gas with the price of gas. I agree.
Maybe they could just sneak into parades from here and there and get around floats, and it's a little bit easier to maneuver your way around. The press is out there actually taking a shot of our next.
Is that a fire truck?
That is and I wouldn't even start to be able to know the year exactly on that fire truck, but obviously one of those old-time fire trucks. He's starting to have quite a gap between he and the next.
Yeah, he's going to have to pick up speed.
That's kind of cool. I hope they have a nameplate on it, because I don't think we have it in our
I don't think so
agenda.
Either.
He's not going anywhere quick.
No, he's not.
He's
in a hurry.
enjoying the ride. Let's see, 1927. Wow. So for you folks who just saw that fire truck passing by, if you didn't get that plate on the side, 1927.
And here we have float 13. Charms, and their float captain is Sally Pertwee. Their co-captain is Christy Sinak and Laura Rogers. There are 22 riders. Sally Pertweet's a past president and former board member. Stephanie Hebert, who's a past queen and former board member, and 2 of her sons are dukes this year. Jennifer Martin is a past queen and former board member. Laura Roger is a former board member. And mother and daughters on this float as well are Sally Pertweet, and her daughters are Cindy Pertweet, Angela Adams, and Laura Roger. Her sister Marguerite is also on this float.
That's a great shot.
And,
whoever threw that, that's a great shot.
And I was looking down. Margaret also rides on her float. Christy Sinak and her daughter Lindsay Sinak. And Laura LeBlanc and her daughter Lacey Picu. Jean Bienvenue and her daughter Emily Bienvenue.
That
so those ladies were really.
Some of them could be playing professional football, I think.
I think we should be glad we have a buffer.
That was, I tell you what, that float did a great job.
We have Maid Mary Downer, who's representing Lemonheads. And this is Mary's first year in the Krewe of Hyacinthians. She's a member of Angela Landry's float. Her duke is Chad Doxey, the son of this year's queen. Mary is the managing editor of Point of View magazine and The Weekly. She would like to thank the Krewe of Hyacinthians for making her first year a most memorable one. And she's toasting with her duke, and her car matches her theme, which is Lemonhead.
Boy, you are right.
And that is a yellow car.
That is yellow. But it's kind of neat the way
It
they
is
combine it. I wonder if she had to go out and find that perfect driver who had that yellow car just so she would get it. I will say this about all of the floats, the costumes, and they've all been, I'm sure the riders tried to stay kind of in costume, have been very, very good.
They have done a great job with their costumes. This is Gold Coin Gum, and their float captain is Rosie Morrison, and their co-captain is Margaret Rao.
That's why I stayed away from it.
And I keep waiting. I'm like, I don't want to take over if you want to announce them, but
No,
you're afraid to mispronounce their names.
I'm starting to look at the names first, and then I just pass it on.
There's 21 riders on this float. Rosie Morrison's been in the club for 42 years. She's a past queen, number 43. She was a treasurer for 15 years. She's a past board member where she served for 18 years. She was the Queen's attendant for 3 years. The float rider Margaret Rao was float captain for 10 years. She was a past maid in 2005, and all 3 of her sons were pages. Her daughter Megan rides the float with her. 7 riders will be taking their first ride in this parade. It's a very family-oriented float. Rosie Morrison and Nicole Webb are mother and daughter-in-law. Kathy Coleman and aunt and nieces Lisa Gehring, Patricia Prevost, mother and daughter Tricia Corbin and Tracy Prevost. Margaret Rao is her mother, and then her daughter Megan Rao rides. Seth Worslow is the mother, and her daughter Gabrielle Ball rides. Clara Bonnet and her daughter Andrea also ride on that float. So lots of families.
So I'll take over on this one, but I have a niche right in the front. So watch out right here. Float number 15, Lifesavers. Captain is Catherine Manso. We have moms, Jeannie Thibodeau and daughter Adele Davis. Kathy Manso's daughters, Kara and Casey, although Casey's pregnant and Kara's pregnant. They may not be on the float. Donna Hutchison also on there. 3 sets of sisters, Kara Manso and Casey Porsche, Amy Johnson and Andrea Walker, and Maggie Stakem and Emily Guidry. Don't. She wants to throw, but they got a net. They got a net. My niece, Catherine Teakin, who is in the front right there, having obviously a very good time. Also, my niece is Casey Manso, who they showing us a picture of. Kara and Casey can't ride because they're pregnant right now,
okay.
so they're not riding right now. So, but their mom's on the float, so very good. Out-of-towners that ride in here: Adele Davis from Denham Springs, Annabelle Hutchison from Baton Rouge.
And here we have float number 16, which is representing Charleston Shoes. Their captain is Denise Robichaux. Their co-captain is Dee Naki, and there are 24 riders on this float. This year's Charleston Shoes are representing the jazzy flappers of the past and how girls even today still want to have fun. Led by their float captain, Denise Robichaux, this float has many past royalty, officers, board members, and strong family ties of mother and daughters. 3 groups of sisters and cousins. Patty Voss is a past queen, past officer, and past board member, and a past maid. Nicole Emerson is a past maid. Julie Rhodes is a current board member, past officer, past maid, and her husband Renee is also a past king. Additional maids are Bee Nakian and Jackie Gerwa. Mary Davis is a past board member, and just like flappers of the 1920s, the Charleston Shoes love to have a good time.
And it comes to an abrupt end as just like that.
I know,
and we have
the
gone through the
end.
parade. We have gone through the parade. Very good. Hyacinthians, your thoughts on the parade today?
I think it was great. It was nice to see so many families and mothers and daughters and sisters and aunts riding together.
More than any parade that I have ever done. There was more family ties in this one than I've seen in all the rest. And obviously they're having a lot of fun on the floats. And I have to thank you for taking over on there with a lot of the names, but obviously adding your expertise to the thing. But again, Krewe of Hyacinthians goes off without a hitch. A great parade. We held out on the weather because it's getting a little overcast, but it was certainly a wonderful day today.
It was a great
and
parade.
a lot of more Mardi Gras coming up for the
That's
next
right.
week.
Happy Mardi Gras, everybody.
Happy Mardi Gras. Everybody take care. We'll be back with more parades as time goes on. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.